Helen Morales is a female wrestler that was born in Rockville, Maryland. She began wrestling at the age of 7. She only began wrestling because she was attending her brother's wrestling practice and her brother did not have a partner. Her mother instructed Helen to take off her shoes and go out there and practice with her brother so that he could learn the moves. 2 weeks, this was a reoccurring occurrence, and she practiced with the boys. 2 weeks was all she needed for Helen to fall in love with the sport, and after that 2 weeks, she went up to her parents and told them that she wanted to go out for the boys' wrestling team and compete against the other boys. After hearing this, her parents were very hesitant and tried to talk Helen out of it due to the fact that this wasn't seen as a thing that girls should do. Girls weren't seen fit to wrestle, this was only a male sport. After much persistence from Helen, she was able to convince her father to make a bet with her. He stated, "Helen, if you win your first match, then I'll allow you to finish the rest of the season. If you lose, then you're done." Helen finished that season 1-30. The only match she won was that first match, but that's all she needed. A star was born after that. Helen continued wrestling from youth up until high school, where she was able to accomplish the starting position on the boys' varsity team, which was a huge accomplishment not only in Maryland but across the country, because girls were not seen on boys' varsity starting lineups. She went on to go to the state championships her freshman year, where she was able to be the first girl to ever win a match at the state championships and is the only girl to ever place at the Maryland State Championships. Her accomplishments did not stop there, where she went on to receive another high school state medal her junior year before deciding to forfeit her senior year as a 17-year-old in high school to move to Northern Michigan to be part of the U.S. Olympic Education Program, where she would finish out her senior year and train for U.S. Olympic women's wrestling, which would be only against women, which is something new because she's only been up against men to this part. She would train in Northern Michigan until she decided to go off to college, where she attended Fraser University in Burnaby, British Columbia. In college, Helen achieved the amazing feat of becoming a 4-time national champion, the first 4-time national champion of women's wrestling everywhere. This is an accomplishment that has only been done a few times in men's wrestling, and for Helen to be the first woman to ever accomplish it is huge, and she is showing that women can do everything that males can do. She is constantly breaking down barriers after barrier, and for women athletes everywhere. Women's wrestling is something new that's bursting onto the scene, and year after year, colleges are adding more programs to the universities. More women's wrestling is being added all over the country. So for her to be the first woman to ever do this is monumental to women's wrestling everywhere, and is showing that they deserve to have this sport at universities just as much as males. After college, Helen began to have her sights set on the 2012 Olympic Games. She put all her time and energy into her thought of being an Olympian. In 2012, she made the Olympic trial finals before eventually falling in the finals, which would lose her spot at the 2012 Olympic Games, where she was able to go to the Olympic Games as an alternate. Helen quoted in an article saying, "It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, but it was one of the best learning experiences I've ever had." With this wake-up call, a lot of people would have been done wrestling, thrown in the towel, but she had her eyes set on 2016 Olympic Games and wasn't going to let anything stop her in achieving that goal. She got a new nutritionist, she got a new strength coach, she even moved across the country to live under her coach in California to train with him day in and day out. She also decided to make the sacrifices and drop from the 55 kilogram weight class to the 53 kilogram weight class, which is about 121 pounds to 116 pounds, which may not seem like a lot, but that 5 pounds for an athlete that is doing hardcore training day in and day out is a lot harder to get off than you expect. Also, many people did not want her to drop down to the 53 kilogram weight class because that was the weight class of Sayori Yoshida, who is the 3-time defending Olympic gold medalist who hasn't lost a match in women's freestyle wrestling in 12 years. She was seen as the god in the sport. But none of this mattered to Helen. She had her eyes set on the prize and was going to do whatever she had to do to achieve destiny. And in 2016, her hard work and dedication paid off, where she qualified a spot at the 2016 Olympic Games. She won her first two matches with ease, putting her into the quarterfinals where she found herself down by 4 points with a minute to go. With a minute to go, she was able to dig deep, and in the last few seconds, she was able to win 7-4, which would put her in the semifinals against the number 2 wrestler in the world. Helen was able to pin her with ease and move on to the final match, which would set up the super match between Helen and Sayori Yoshida. Helen was able to make history and become the first United States Olympic women's freestyle athlete to achieve a gold medal at the Olympics, and also stop Sayori Yoshida's 12-year dominance. After this, women's wrestling in the United States saw a substantial increase all across the country. She's breaking down barriers once again and shining a light on our sport. Helen has been challenging social norms her entire life, participating in a sport where people told her she didn't belong, people told her that it was just a male sport. In a documentary in Flow Wrestling, she stated when she was 9 years old, she heard parents yelling at her, "Kick that girl's ass, get that dyke off the mat." These were things being yelled to a 9-year-old girl. As she grew older and became better at the sport, the ruder, the meaner things got, and the harder it was for her. But she dug deep and did what she had to do, but she knew there was a bigger goal than just herself, and she knew what she had to do to accomplish her dream. She even stated in youth, coaches would not coach her. They would walk past her in the practice room. They wouldn't coach her at tournaments, unlike the boys where they would give them knowledge and tell them how to hit moves. She got none of that. She had to watch what they were saying to other people and teach herself to become great. It was all due to her own being. It wasn't up until high school that she actually found a coach that believed in her, and that coach was Max Sartov. After Helen placed her freshman year, teams began forfeiting to her sophomore year. Helen, at the beginning of her sophomore season, was forfeited 10 times in a row by teams not sending a wrestler out to compete against her. This would have continued until Coach Max put a stop to it and stated in an article and to the other coaches, "If you forfeit her, then I'm going to forfeit every single weight of this duel." He put a stop to it and said that if they didn't send someone out, he was going to forfeit every single match and was going to do it for the remainder of the season until they gave Helen just a fair chance as the boys. Finally, someone was sticking up for Helen and women's wrestling everywhere. In another article by Flow Wrestling, Helen's school principal, Lee Edwards, stated, "She excelled at something against all odds, not just in wrestling, but against the stigma of being a girl in wrestling. Every student in this school can look at this excellence and achievement to reach not just a dream, but to be successful in life. You can give back to others. Even if she doesn't say a word, her example gives back to others." Her examples in life and her doing everything that she has up to this point is just proving that women can do anything, and she's breaking down barrier after barrier. First in high school, then in college when she's a 4-time national champion, which has never been done before, and more universities are putting programs because of her accomplishment. And then in 2012, where she has a heartbreaking loss, where a lot of people are thrown in the towel and giving up right then and there because all their dreams have been crushed, everything they worked for, and now they have to work 4 more years to try to accomplish that dream again. But not Helen. She dug deep, did what she had to do to accomplish her lifelong goal and be the first U.S. Olympic gold medalist. This just describes Helen. The societal norm of individuals putting women down or participating in the same sport as males needs to stop. Instead of people looking at it as she doesn't belong or that it's just good that she's out there trying, it should be looked at as she has just as good a chance of winning as male athletes do. And people should be building up opposite genders instead of putting them down. If we hear individuals speaking negatively about women, saying toxic things, it should be corrected right on the spot, so we can set it straight, and these rude, untrue sayings can stop right then and there. People see that it's not right, and they will respect that, and this will not spread. And then everybody will be empowering the women athletic movement, and women wrestling, along with other sports, will continue to grow and evolve. Helen is constantly pushing the barriers to bring up women's wrestling and empower women athletes all over the world, and that is just her personality. She is a great role model, a great athlete, and a great leader for all athletes anywhere, not just women. Thank you.